find deep meaning in experiences, reflecting on your thoughts as you walk? Are you really drawn to the Camino for spiritual or religious reasons? Then you might be a melancholic pilgrim or the thoughtful seeker. Hi, I'm Jen, and this is my Camino Temperament series, where we talk about how your unique design can impact the way that you walk and process your Camino. Today we're going to be talking about the Melancholic Pilgrim. If you remember from the intro video, temperaments have to do a little bit with how we respond to the stimuli around us. And so for melancholics, they respond slowly, with low intensity that builds over time, and their duration actually can last a long time. So they're kind of intense pilgrims, let's say. If that sounds like you, that's great. But if you want to know for sure what kind of pilgrim you are, you can take my free Camino Temperaments quiz in the description below, and that way you'll know for sure. But again, I do think it's helpful to hear about all four temperaments and find your space within them, remembering that we all have aspects of them inside ourselves. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the Melancholic Pilgrim. So the strengths of the Melancholic Pilgrim. These thoughtful seekers tend to be, no surprise, thoughtful and introspective. They are really drawn to the personal and spiritual meaning in the journey itself. They are emotionally attuned. They can process their experiences really deeply and look for insights that they can apply to their lives now and in the future. And they also tend to be really well prepared. They are the pilgrims who really research and reflect before beginning the journey. My secondary temperament is melancholic. I am a primary phlegmatic, but melancholic, and my melancholic really came out in my preparation for the Camino because I really wanted to read everything I could about it. I was in all of the forums, I was reading all of the books, which back in 2011, there were not as many books as there are now. I wanted to know what to expect. It wasn't that I wanted to plan every step out, but it was that I wanted to have some idea of what I was getting into so that I could be prepared for the unexpected, which is an interesting aspect. So melancholics are like that. You probably would see them on the Camino forums and message boards and Facebook groups. They are the ones who have really strong opinions about the Camino being a religious or spiritual journey. That's really an emphasis that they have. Sometimes they're the ones that are really arguing about what it means to be a real pilgrim or to walk a real Camino. I don't even want to touch that argument, but I do think that because they attach so much importance to the purpose of the journey, that's why they are expressing those thoughts. And I do share that. I think that your reason for walking is important to what you're doing. So melancholic pilgrims tend to have a very strongly identifiable reason or purpose for what it is that they want to learn about themselves or experience on the Camino. Some of the challenges that can bring, number one, might be overthinking. This also comes through in forums with people who are just asking every single question. Like they want to account for every possibility. They want to make sure that they are making the right choice or what it's supposed to be. So this overthinking and perfectionism really work hand in hand. They want all the information. They have a lot of expectations for how the Camino is supposed to unfold, like the things that they are supposed to experience on it. They have an idea in their mind of sort of what the ideal or perfect pilgrimage is. And so that can be challenging when the Camino itself doesn't provide that. And I do think I struggled with that a little bit, right? All of the reading that I did had prepared me, but I had some ideas as to what I wanted to have happen, right? Or wanted to learn, or what kind of sign was I waiting for God to give me on this? When that does or doesn't happen, that can kind of throw off some of your expectations. This is why in one of my earlier videos, I talk about having like part of your preparing for the Camino is making sure that you're managing your expectations, because it can really impact how everything turns out. And the third common challenge for melancholic pilgrims can be emotional exhaustion. If you're walking the Camino Francis, if you're walking for a month or more, constant deep reflection and emotion can be overwhelming. So just keeping in mind that reflection is good, but it's also not, you don't have to reflect on every single moment, every single day, because that's a lot of input. It's important to also kind of take a step back on occasion and just have a day that you are experiencing, and that's okay. So I think, and especially for melancholics, it can be important to think about what helps them thrive. If they have this deep connection to thoughtfulness and purpose and meaning, definitely need to make sure that they have space to reflect. So make sure that you have set some journaling time every day. If you want to have prayer or scripture time built into your schedule, you certainly can do that. Doing what you need to give yourself that context and that space as part of your daily rhythm please go ahead and do that. It also can help you thrive to have deep conversations. You don't want to be a solitary reflective pilgrim, at least not every day, but it can be helpful instead of being overwhelmed maybe by a whole group of people like a sanguine might want everyone around there and just be talking constantly. Melancholics really like to have deep conversations. So finding one other pilgrim or two other pilgrims that you can walk with, in some ways on a regular basis, but even if just for a day or two, that can give you the space to have those deep conversations. Melancholics are great because they can actually draw out some reflection from people of other temperaments that may be less inclined to it. And so it can be actually fun to partner with melancholics to ask some of those questions and really force you to start reflecting. Melancholics seeking out deeper conversations can actually be a gift to other pilgrims who need that time and space for reflection. And then finally, helping you thrive, please release yourself from perfection, right? Like the perfect Camino does not exist. I couldn't even tell you what that was. You will have the Camino that you need to have in that moment. Know that. You will have a Camino that is sort of, I don't even want to say that is perfect for you because that's still too much emphasis on perfection, but that's just not what happens. You live through the Camino and it is not a perfect thing, but neither is life. And so just let go of that. There's no measurement. No one's going to ask you when you come back, hey, did you have the perfect Camino? Like that's not a thing. For melancholics, I really encourage you to just let go of that. The biggest, I learned many big lessons from the Camino, but one of the biggest is just there are so many different ways to live a life that perfection is meaningless, right? Like it's the perfection that we strive for is the perfection of being perfectly ourselves, and being perfectly yourself means being the person that God has created you to be. It is not an external standard. That's the only kind of perfection I would ever encourage you to look for. But even that it's not definable really, right? Like it is part of growth. Perfection comes up so much for so many people. I really wanted to make sure to kind of drive that home. The perfect Camino does not exist. What's something that a melancholic could do to have a better Camino? Melancholics, you could pick one thing each day to enjoy without analyzing it. Like just pick something to enjoy and let it be what it is. Whether that's a conversation, whether that's a beautiful sunrise, whether it's a delicious meal, whether it's lying on your back with your feet up a tree resting, right? Like just enjoy it, enjoy the beauty, notice it, and let it go. That's it. Way easier said than done. My melancholics, I feel you. So if that sounds like you, any of that, hopefully it was useful to everyone, but particularly melancholics, if that sounds like you. But you remember, you can find out if you're melancholic by taking the free quiz in the description below. You also are welcome to book a coaching session with me. I'm happy to do a 30-minute temperament session where we talk about your temperament and what that might mean specifically for you. And then I also offer a larger coaching program for preparing for, walking, reflecting upon your Camino. So I am happy to offer that to everyone. Please like and subscribe so you get the rest of the videos in this series. And I would love if you could tell me and comment below, what are you most looking forward to in your Camino? Are you looking forward to alone time and reflection? Are you looking forward to meeting new people? Are you looking forward to the beauty of Spain? Give a shout out in the comments below and I will see you in there and see you in the next video. Buen Camino!